What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for Venom. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I just got back from the theater, ladies and gentlemen. And yo, fan. This movie right here is peak cinema. This once again is probably one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen. And it is without a doubt better than this movie fucking slaps. I had a grand old time in the theater watching this one, which was actually surprisingly packed the theater was. I was actually kind of surprised because when I saw, now this could have also been, I waited a week when I saw Shang-Chi, but when I saw Shang-Chi the week after it came out, the theater wasn't really all that busy. It was kind of empty. There was a decent number of people, but there wasn't that many. For Venom, it was pretty packed. I wouldn't say it was like, I don't think it was like completely packed, but it was a pretty packed theater, which kind of surprised me. But then again, like I said, I waited till like a week after Shang-Chi came out to finally watch it, while with Venom, I saw it like the day after it premiered. So that's obviously a fact. But I was actually kind of surprised how packed the theater was for Venom. But yeah, man, this movie was fucking awesome, man. And the post-credit scene, it hyped. Which obviously we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section of this review. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's just jump right in. So the movie is directed by Andy Serkis, and I believe his directorial debut. I might be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure this is actually Andy Serkis' first ever movie he's directed. And of course, starring the legendary Tom Hardy, with Harrelson, Michelle Williams, Naomi Harris, and many more. And the plot of Venom 2 is that Carnage is here and shit is hitting him. What else do you need to know? But yeah, man, this, like I said before, this movie five slaps. Without doubt, first up, the biggest praise I can give this film is Tom Hardy. Once again, Tom Hardy steals the show. Him and Venom and their interactions were god tier in the first film. They are even better here. I absolutely love them. Like there's dude, like, you got them arguing over why they can't eat brains anymore because, Eddie's trying to keep Venom on the down low because the FBI is on his ass. You got them arguing in the bathroom. Then of course you got the big scene in their apartment where they're really just throwing hands. They call it throwing hands. But yeah, you got that, man, and a bunch of other set pieces, man, where they're just arguing, and it's just fucking brilliant, man. Every time they're on screen together, it is fucking brilliant. Woody Harrelson is also fantastic as Carnage, as well as Cletus Cathy. Perfect casting from there as well. He was great, man. He was awesome. Really enjoyed him, man, whenever time he was on screen, man. He was always a fun to watch, man. He was great. Actually, one thing I gotta say that I think did a lot better in the first film has to be what happened with Annie and Dan. Because in the first film, they were kind of just there as like, oh yeah, the guy that stole Eddie's woman, and he's actually kind of a nice guy, They really didn't do much, especially Annie. I thought she was kind of dull. And, in the first film, here, she actually given a lot more to do, and I think Annie is a way better character here, and far more enjoyable here than what she was in the first film. Dan is about the same. He doesn't really get much screen time, but he was also pretty entertaining in the handful scenes he was getting. Mrs. Chen, like the two scenes she's in, was also fantastic, as well as one scene in particular that just had me dying. But, yeah, man, so that was also great as well. Like I said before, the post-credit scene, which I won't get into here for spoiler reasons, which, by the way, when I say post-credit scene, I mean mid-credit scene. There is not a post-credit scene, there's only a mid-credit scene. I stayed through the entire credits to make sure, although one thing I will say that was pretty cool is because I stayed through the entire credits just to see if there was anything else, like a post-credit scene, I don't know, was just like a funny gag, or I don't know, fucking teaser for Spider-Verse 2 or something, like they did for the, like in Venom 1, because you guys remember for Venom 1, the mid-credit scene was Carnage, and the post-credit scene was like a straight-up like 2 or 3 minute long clip from Spider-Verse, which was pretty cool when I saw that. I was like, yo, clip from Spider-Verse, this is awesome. That was pretty hype, man. That was pretty hype. But yeah, there's only a mid-credit scene, no post-credit scene, so after the mid-credit scene, you guys can leave. Unless you want to sit there. But anyway, while I was watching the credits, and if there's anything after the credits, I actually noticed that both Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman were on there too, which is pretty cool because you guys know they're doing the latest Venom, which recently ended. So it was cool to see them in the credits. That was pretty hot. I was like, hey, it's Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman, let's go! They actually shouted them out, so that was pretty cool. But yeah. So I already mentioned that. Venom, of course, once again is phenomenal. Man. I love this. I love his design. The design they had for Carnage as well was also fantastic as well. I really loved the design. The symbiotes as how they would move and everything was great as well. The fight scenes, of course, were fantastic as well. Especially when we get to around the end with Carnage and Venom finally throwing hands, throwing down. Man, that was pretty hype. That was pretty entertaining, and I was thoroughly enjoying that. One thing that I think one thing I could definitely oh yeah, I almost forgot about this one scene. When around the beginning part of the movie, or was around maybe in the mid, we actually see Carnage, or Cletus Cassidy's rather, his origin story, and I love the way it was shown off, where it was in more of a cartoon, animated style, similar to like you see some indie games with like a scratchy art style kind of thing, and it was really cool. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was Andy Serkis's idea, considering mocap and everything is what brought him to the dance. I wouldn't be surprised that whole like anime section to show off how Cletus Cassidy's origin was when he killed his grandma, his mother, and all that shit. I wouldn't be surprised if how the way it was told to that style was Andy Serkis's idea. But that one was a really cool one, and I liked how they actually did that for showing off Carnage's origin story. I thought it looked really good. The music I thought was pretty good as well. They actually had a couple of good tracks that they explained. Of course, they had an Eminem track as well. He wasn't the solo one, but they did it. But Eminem did make an appearance in the soundtrack, so that was how they kept him on there. Because he was like, memes aside about the Eminem Venom song, it does slap low key. It is a pretty good song, but so it's cool to hear him. So it's cool to hear him in the end credits, man. Now I think the only thing I would really say I had problems with, and this is more of the comic book snob in me coming out, but they never once mentioned that symbiotes reproduce asexually, like at all, like legit. After like Cletus bites Eddie, and of course that's how he gets the Carnage symbiote. They never explain how that happened in the first place. Now maybe that scene they did film that, and then they just cut it to keep the film under 2 hours or something. I don't know, but I did find it kind of jarring and weird that they never once mentioned how Carnage is even a thing, because he does call Venom father. He does actually call him father. They do acknowledge the fact that Carnage is indeed the spawn of Venom, but they never once go into mention of how symbiotes reproduce asexually. Which I was not, so for me it was fine. I knew already, but like the average Joe Schmo who doesn't pay attention to the comments, he ain't gonna know. He'll probably be a little bit confused about that. But yeah, I did find that weird that they never once mentioned that the symbiotes reproduce asexually, and they could have made a funny sex joke out of it too. So I don't know why they did. Or like I said, maybe they did film that, and at the 11th hour they decided to cut it to keep the film under 2 hours or something. I don't know. But I just found that kind of weird how they just never mentioned that the symbiotes reproduce asexually and how Carnage is even around, how that even happened to begin with. But besides that, man, I don't really go much further to say other than that. The film was fantastic. If you are a fan of the first Venom film, you are going to adore this one. If you're someone that wasn't digging Venom when it came out back in 2018, this film certainly will not change your mind at all, man. And there was also, like I said, there was also the post-credit scene. There's also another little thing we also saw around the end of the film that, for us comic book fans, made me very happy. I was like, oh, that's cool. But we'll talk more about that in the spoiler discussion. But anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end the spoiler-free review of this review. Give you guys my final verdict, and then we're going to jump right into the spoiler discussion. So, overall, I'm going to give Venom Let There Be Carnage a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. A masterpiece of superhero cinema, if you ask me, man. And yeah, man. This will probably end up being one of my top films of the year. Probably, man. This movie was fucking awesome, man. I had a hell of a time watching it, and it was just a grand time, man. Definitely recommend you guys check it out if you guys were a fan of Venom 2018. So now, anyway, guys, let us move on to the spoilers discussion. So, first off, let's talk about the post-credit scene. Let's get that out of the way first before we kind of go into a little bit more detail about other things. So, the post-credit scene, Venom, Eddie, he's chilling like some hotel room. I think they're in like Mexico or something, because we see him in like a beach, and Venom is like getting his toes to the sand, because mentioned that about earlier on in the film. But then Venom kind of goes off about like the Hive, and which I was like, oh, the Hive, because that was a big part of Donny Cates' run with like Null and the Hive and everything. So I was like, ooh, we can get some Donny Cates' run. Are they gonna like maybe set up Null or something, for the third one? They're gonna set up King Black and all that shit. But he starts to show him. Then this like giant blinding rainbow color thing portal opens up, and then suddenly is in another location where we find out in a completely different hotel room, where we find out from the news story that J.K. Simmons, which, by the way, J.K. Simmons, I'm looking at the Google page right now to make sure I get like the director and like the cast, everything right. J.K. Simmons is like one of the first cast members that pop up when you look this film up. Like, bro, spoilers much? But anyway, J.K. Simmons goes on the TV. He's going on about Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man, and we see this shot of Tom Holland kind of looking around. Now, I'm sure this was green screen. Now, I am curious if this is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home, and like they took a clip from No Way Home and threw it on this TV for Venom 2. I'm not sure if we'll see this in No Way Home or not, but I thought it was interesting to see Tom kind of looking around unmasked. So obviously Venom is now in the MCU. Venom is now officially has been integrated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and which always made me very excited because I'm like, okay, if Venom's in here, then there's probably a good chance he might be in No Way Home, which I'm shocked there hasn't been rumors about Venom being in No Way Home yet. But now I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, no, Venom is gonna be in No Way Home, you know, because it's always been just like Andrew, Toby, will they, won't they be in the film and all that shit. So I'm surprised Venom did not enter that conversation once, but I'm sure he's gonna enter it now with this post-credit scene. So, with that, and of course, and one thing I thought was pretty cool is Venom licks the TV where Spider-Man's head at, which I think could be a solid, like, maybe wink and nod to the history that those two obviously have. Now, did Venom ever once, integrate with Spidey in, like, the other universe? Maybe not. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know, I just found that kind of interesting. And this does obviously open the door and leave the questions open on, will we see Venom in No Way Home? And is this basically confirming that we will be seeing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire? Because it looked like from how Venom was chilling in one location, but now he's suddenly thrust into the MCU through like some portal or something. Maybe when in like Loki, when the sacred timeline started to converge and those multiverses started to pop up, maybe somehow through all that, or this could have been from the snap from Thanos, where this could have all like somehow converged to Venom's reality and somehow made it merge with the MCU. That obviously asks the question, well, is Morbius now part of the MCU too? Because remember, he still has a movie coming out. When? I don't know. It's been delayed to shit. But then obviously it's question, will we see Morbius? Is Morbius also part of this? Will he also be integrated into the MCU, or is he going to stay in his own separate universe with his film? Your guess is as good as mine, fam. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. And I was like, when everyone was talking about the most crazy, I was more like, okay, it's gonna be one of two things. Either A, it's gonna be something with Spider-Man and Tom Holland, or B, it might be something to do with Morbius. Maybe like a trailer, a clip, something about Morbius, but it ended up being about Spidey. So that was pretty cool, man. But obviously, so yeah. Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below what you guys think from that post-credits scene on where you think this will go. Does this confirm that Venom will be in? Do you think this does mean that Venom is going to be No Way Home? And do you think this basically confirms that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be in No Way Home? After watching this. We'll have to wait and see on that front, man, but that definitely begs the question of whether or not we're going to see Tom Hardy going to be in No Way Home. Maybe we'll see him and Tom, Venom and Tom, integrate. We'll see Spidey with the Venom symbiote finally in the MCU. Might happen, might not happen, but that's pretty cool. Also, one other thing I forgot to mention in my spoiler-free part, but I loved how they used their one F-bomb where Cletus is like going off, but like, I just want your friendship, and Venom says, fuck this guy, and just eats his head. Perfection right there, perfect, man. But one thing I also want to talk about is we also saw from the end of the film, the detective character, we see like his eyes change color or whatever, and obviously I picked up on that instantly, and I'm like, oh, yo, that's setting up Toxin. We're gonna see Toxin next. Toxin's coming. Because if you guys don't know who are not well-versed in Spider-Man lore, allow me to educate you. Play that Bleach music. So, one of Carnage's spawns, because yes, even Carnage also did make a couple children during his time in the comics. One of them being Toxin. Now Toxin is, like I said, he's like the son or daughter, whatever, the spawn of Carnage, and he ends up combining with this police officer. I don't know if it's the same cop that's named in the film. I don't know that. I'm not that deep with Toxin lore, but I know the general gist of Toxin. And the cop integrates himself with Toxin because the cop is good. He's like, no, don't eat brains, or but eventually they kind of work together, and then he ends up giving Toxin playtime, where he basically lets him take over and just lets him have fun. And I think he also allows him to eat like the heads of bad guys as well, but obviously no good guys. So obviously if we do get a Venom 3, which I'm about 90% certain we will. That's probably when we're going to see toxic digitors. I don't know if he's going to be the villain or he's going to be helping Venom, or he's going to be introduced in some other MCU film, because now it looks like Venom is now part of the MCU now. I don't know, but I thought that was pretty cool that we actually did see Toxin, and he is going to be sent, and they did plan to see the Toxin. It looks like we will only see him very, very soon. So that was pretty cool, because I think Toxin's pretty cool out of all the other symbiotes we have seen so far. Now, one other thing I have to talk about is about Naomi Harris's character. Now, if you guys remember from my trailer reactions, I always assumed that she would scream. The symbiote scream, because, she screams. So I'm like, oh, she screams. She must have the scream symbiote, because, her name is Scream. But no, it was not Scream. In fact, she's a completely different Marvel character that I didn't even know about called Shriek. Now, I'm sure, the hardcore Marvel fans who, know Venom more, who were there during the 90s when all this shit happened, probably already knew all this shit, but I didn't. So it was a pleasant surprise for me. That's why I didn't mention it in the spoiler-free part. But, so we find out that she's Shriek. So I did some research about this shit, and we found that she actually is indeed Carnage's lover in the comic. So obviously that explains why she's screaming this way. So it's pretty cool. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's why she's screaming. She doesn't scream because she has a symbiote. It's because it's just her power, and she's just called Shriek. So, which I thought she was pretty good. I thought the relationship between her and Cletus was kind of interesting. And it was weird to see Cletus actually care about someone, because at least from what I've seen when it comes to Carnage, which isn't that much from the 90s series and Donny Cates' run, Cletus has always been that guy that he doesn't give zero fucks about anything. He just kills. So it was weird and interesting to see him actually have a relationship with a woman and go back and save her and everything. Their relationship was pretty interesting to see that. And also we see Carnage talking. It was pretty cool. I like the voice I got here, and he also just tells always tells Shriek to just shut the fuck up, because of course her sound waves or attacks obviously hurt the symbiotes. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, that's how I kind of explained whether I was wrong about that theory about whether or not we would see the Scream symbiote. So yeah, man. Besides that, I don't think I'm much more to say other than that, guys, for this review. So like I said, still guys, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Your theories of whether or not you think Venom will be in No Way Home, or this will be something separate. Leave it all down in the comments, but I'm curious with you guys what your theories are that on those crits. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe for me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Flagged, links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.